3D Wilma Flintstone Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everybody! In today's video I'm going to be showing you Wilma Flintstone that goes along with my Fred Flintstone from yesterday. If you missed that video, I will put a link to it in the description box below, so check for that. I hope you like this as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So to begin with, just like with the Fred nail, I'm going to start out with a gradient of a very shimmery mossy green at the tip and then a shimmery white at the cuticle. I chose this background combination because it looks like it would just be appropriate for that era. I don't know why, but when I was trying to decide what background I wanted for these guys, this color combination just seemed like it would be necessary. Plus, both Wilma and Fred have a lot of orange on them, Wilma's hair and Fred's dress. So the green in the background makes those colors stand off really nice. So if you want to go with a different background color, there's really no rhyme or reason or specific, I guess, reason for this, but it does seem to make those two characters stand off the nail really well. So now I'm going to begin sculpting Wilma's head, neck, shoulders, arms with tan acrylic. And this is the same tan acrylic that I used for Fred, in case anybody's wondering. Sometimes you want to use a slightly different tone for different characters, but it's the same one. And so for her face, it's narrower at the top of her head, and then it just kind of gently flares out and then back in for her chin, and then her neck. And then we're going to add the little bit of her shoulders and just sculpt her entire torso area. Don't just necessarily stop at the shoulders or try to avoid where her dress is. Usually with sculpting characters, I think it's easier to just sculpt what's underneath their clothes and then sculpt their clothes on top. So depending on how detailed you want to be with that, you can take it how you wish. But then we're going to take her hair, and like I said, that's a nice bright pumpkin orange, and be adding her hair at the top. So her bangs curve very gently across the top of her forehead, and it's a nice flat shape on the top of her head. But then there's this little extra bit of where her bangs curl in front, so sculpt that with a second bead, and then let that set up for just a minute. So just ignore it for a little while. We'll come back to it. And add a little bit of hair on the one side of her face, and then take the tip of your brush and sculpt a little swirl into those bangs. So just take the very tip and go whoop, and just curly Q right in the middle. If you look at the pictures of Wilma Flintstone, you'll get a very good idea of where that curl is placed. And then add the hair on the other side of her face. Pat that orange acrylic. This is probably just me, but I feel like in my experience, orange acrylic always has a different texture than any other color. And I don't know, like I said, if it's just me, but I've noticed it in multiple brands that orange acrylic just tends to hold its shape a little different. It doesn't self-level so much like a lot of other colors do, and I don't know if it's just because of the way the pigment has to be or what the deal is. But if you guys have noticed that too, tell me I'm not alone, or if you think I'm crazy, yeah, you can say that too. I don't care. I'm just curious if it's just me. So after you finish sculpting her hair, we're going to be sculpting her dress. So she's got a one-shouldered asymmetrical dress that she's wearing, and so you want to leave one of her arms visible on the side. And then after you have that dress done, take 3 teeny tiny beads of the white acrylic and then add what I called pearls, but I think they're probably more like some kind of dinosaur bone necklace. And then we're going to take some diluted black acrylic and acrylic paint, and we're going to be filling in all of her outlines. So I like to just start in one place when I'm doing outlines and then kind of work my way out and then go back in and fill in facial features and those finer details. I guess that's usually how I do it. Sometimes I stray from my own recommendations, but we're going to just begin filling in all of those little lines on her hair. And you can start wherever you want. I mean, if you don't want to just start with the hair, you can start on her dress or wherever. One thing that I learned in a high school art class 10 years ago, probably around 10 years ago, was that you always start at the top of your canvas and work your way down. And I don't always stick with that theory, but I do definitely sometimes stick with that kind of law. It's one of those things that, depending on the circumstance, it's a good thing to remember because you have less chance of hitting it with your arm if you start at the top and then work your way down or smudging it. So in something like this, when you're trying to figure out where to start your outlines, that may be a consideration. I'm then, after I've got all those other outlines done, adding her facial features, a little line for her nose, her lips, her eyes, her eyebrows. And I gave her a slightly worried look on her face just because I feel like if you're Wilma Flintstone, you're always worried about what Fred is doing. And so just have that kind of slightly pensive look on your face. But that is it. I hope you guys love this design as much as I do. If you really like the Flintstones, I do have some past tutorials, including Fred, that I'll put in the description box below, so check for those, and I will see you next time. Bye!